Thanks for staying with us. I'm speaking with Ron Jackson, the president of the Flance Management Incorporated Board, and Cheryl Lovell, the executive director of the St. Louis Housing Authority. And we're going to be learning more about their partnership. And we've been hearing about the Flance Early Childhood Center, which is opening in this spring in the city of St. Louis. And Ron, you're integrally involved with all of that going on as president of the board. So how have the community partnerships been important and will be ongoing?
Well, the community partnerships have been absolutely essential because, as we say, teamwork makes the dream work. And the partners who we have, starting with the vision of Richard Barron and McCormick Barron, Salazar, and Sandy Moore with Urban Strategies. They started thinking about this 10 years ago because they're in the housing business.
Right.
And they recognized that Early Childhood Center could be an important element in making that community more cohesive. Start out early.
Right.
And so they began working on this, and they talked with the Department of St. Louis Housing Authority. They talked with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the City of St. Louis, the State of Missouri. You know, these were the original funding partners, and Cheryl's going to talk more about how the St. Louis Housing Authority has been involved in this.
Yeah.
So those are some of the critical partners at the beginning, but it starts with the vision.
Yeah, and you know, and to keep it going for those so many years and get to the point where you're now opening the center, and you know, in that teamwork that you talked about, can't lessen along the way, I'm sure. So Cheryl, talk about the St. Louis Housing Authority and how you guys have been involved from the beginning in this concept.
Well, we've been involved since the concept actually of the neighborhood itself. Now, both Urban Strategies and McCormick Barron, as Ron points out, were really the pushers behind the education, but we're partners in the Murphy Park community, the Cahill House community. We're involved with Car Square, which is now, that was originally one of our developments that now is managed by, is owned by the Car Square community itself. We were approached probably about 10 years ago with this idea of an early childhood education center, and have been trying to work with the various partners along the way to ensure the center.
When you were approached with this idea, you also saw the need for it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the benefit of education is, you know, it's immeasurable. You know, for children of limited means to really be able to move on and, you know, get the good jobs and become, you know, to live the American dream, the only way to do that is to get an education.
Absolutely, and it's got to start early, and we're seeing that more and more.
And so our partnership in the Flance Center actually is, we're the primary, we contributed $5 million from a grant that we obtained competitively with our partners, Urban Strategy, from HUD, one of 7 awarded in the country. So it was a very competitive grant, and the $5 million were really the funding that really got it kick-started. There had been many attempts to raise the money to build the building. Some of it had been raised, but it was always not enough until the grant opportunity came along. The partners also involved, it's a very complicated financing scheme, and there are many different entities along the way that are involved in that financing scheme, and there are also many different entities involved in there was still a little bit of a funding gap, and that was made up by a lot of private donors that stepped up to the plate to be able to make the Flance Center a reality.
Yeah, and Ron, you're now just on the brink of opening the center in the next few months. How do you envision continuing to work with the St. Louis Housing Authority, and Cheryl step in to answer this question too, as we move into the future and fill those rooms with children?
Well, you know, since we got the money through them, the accountability rests with reporting to them about how we're using the money. So, you know, that's an important part of it. But we also got tax credits through the state of Missouri. We got support from our city, from Tamika Hubbard, Alderwoman Tamika Hubbard, who you've already talked to. And, you know, it's been a real village approach. It takes a village to raise a child, and that's kind of how we look at it. And so we're looking at the people at COVAM, Community Development Operation, Blue Mire, the Cahill House, and all the entities that care about making that community what it has the potential to be.
Right.
So we're going to be working with everybody. We're going to have the community come in. We're going to have parental engagement opportunities. We're going to have senior citizens volunteering with the children. So we're going to have a broad scope of partnerships to make this a outstanding program.
Yeah, it's just amazing how many people and entities and organizations need to come together to create something like this Children's Center.
And as Alderwoman Hubbard said, there are lots of children in the neighborhood. Many of them are our clients,
Yeah.
and we can certainly help get the word out and make sure people know that the service is available to their children.
Absolutely, you've got a vested interest. Don't change that dial. Steve Zwolak will be returning, and we'll learn about the benefits of a preschool education and why the Flance Early Childhood Center is so important to the community. We'll be right back.